I didn't know. Not because they didn't care, not because they didn't try, but because they were raised in a world where survival came first and everything else came after. A world where success meant stability, a government job, a steady paycheck, a predictable life. And so they passed that dream down carefully, lovingly, believing they were protecting their children from the uncertainty they once knew too well. But somewhere along the way, something changed. The world shifted, opportunities evolved, and the definition of success began to stretch beyond what they were taught to believe. And now, many African parents find themselves standing in strange space, watching their children dream differently. Dream louder, dream riskier, dream beyond the limits they once accepted as reality. And sometimes, the gap creates tension. Because how do you guide a child into a future you were never prepared for? But here's the powerful part. Your past doesn't disqualify you from raising a successful child. It qualifies you. Because the mistakes you made, the opportunities you didn't have, the risk you were too afraid to take, those are not failures. They are lessons waiting to be passed on. You see, raising a business-minded child doesn't start with money. It starts with mindset. It starts with the conversation you allow. Do your children hear you talk about your expenses? Or do they hear you talk about opportunities? Do they grow believing money is something you chase or something you create? Because children don't just listen, they absorb. If all they see is fear around risk, they will fear risk. If all they hear is play it safe, they will shrink their dreams to fit safely. But if they see curiosity, if they hear possibility, if they watch you try, fail, learn, and try again, something powerful begins to grow inside them. Permission to think differently, permission to build something of their own. And maybe you're thinking, but I made too many mistakes. Maybe you didn't start that business. Maybe you gave up too early. Maybe you chose security when your heart wanted more. But what if your greatest value as a parent is not getting everything right, but in being honest about what went wrong? Because a child who understands your journey doesn't just inherit your struggles, they inherit your wisdom. Tell them where you hesitated. Tell them what you were afraid of. Tell them what you would do differently if you had another chance. Not to burden them, but to free them. Because when a child understands that fear is normal but not final, they become braver than you had the chance to be. And here's something even deeper. You don't have to be a successful entrepreneur to raise one. You have to create an environment where thinking is encouraged, where questions are welcomed, where ideas are explored, not dismissed. When your child says, I want to start something, don't rush to list the risks. Ask them questions. How would it work? What do you need? What problem are you solving? Those small conversations, they build confidence. They teach your child that their ideas matter. And that's where business truly begins, not in money, but in belief. Because many successful entrepreneurs started the same way, with an idea and someone who didn't shut it down. And yes, the fear will still be there. The fear they might fail, the fear they might struggle, the fear that the world might be harder than they expect. But here's the truth many parents don't realize. Failure is not what destroys children. Silence does. Doubt does. Discouragement does. A child who fails but feels supported will rise again. A child who never tries this never discovers who they truly have been. So instead of trying to protect your child from failure, prepare for it. Teach them that failure is feedback. The mistakes are part of the process. That every setback carries a lesson most people are too afraid to learn. And slowly, something changes. You stop raising a child who is afraid of the world and start raising one who is ready for it. And maybe, just maybe, through them, you begin to heal parts of yourself. The dreams you once buried, the risk you never took, they don't disappear, they transform into guidance, into encouragement, into a different kind of legacy. Because success is no longer just about what you achieve, it's about what you unlock in the next generation. So speak life into their ideas, share your truth without shame. Let them not just see strength, but growth. Because one day, your child won't remember what you provided. They'll remember how you made them think, how you made them believe, how you gave them the courage to build a bigger life. And that is a different kind of success. One that doesn't just change your family, but changes everything that comes after it. If you found this video interesting, make sure you like, subscribe for more financial content.